Okay, hello everyone. Thank you for joining us. You are watching OBN Horn of Africa. This is our weekly program, Talk to OBN. I am Ibsa Safar. Today I joined by an Oromo politician, a very senior politician in Oromo political history, and currently he is OLF's advisor, Ibsa Negawo. It's a pleasure to have you. All right. Obviously, OLF has scored about 47 consecutive years in Oromo's political struggle, right?
Yes, yeah.
Can you tell us about its establishment ever since 1974 up until these days, all the struggle, ups and downs, all the challenges you have faced, and the manifestos and the agendas and the policies?
Yes, yeah. The OLF has been established because of the oppression here on the Oromo people and other nationalities too, and because of lack of democracy. Otherwise, OLF has never been formed in that way as an OLF.
Exactly.
So it has been faced up and down in terms of military activity, political activity, and diplomatic activities. And in a much way, I can say it has achieved partially. The Oromo people has achieved some rights, gained at least to learn their own language, by their own language. And at the present, it has really covered much of its program with some remaining issues.
It was, as I have said, it was established in 1974, right?
Yes, yeah.
And obviously it has its own manifesto,
Yes, yeah.
objectives, which is agendas and policies, right?
Yes, it has.
But we are living in a very dynamic world, right? Mm-hmm. Still, are you on those manifestos of old age, or you change it through course of time?
The OLF had a political program which emphasized that the Oromo people has to get their freedom and have a self-determination within the context of this country's democratic process. So the issue doesn't really change much, but we adjust ourselves with the present situation to participate in a democratic process, and the government, the people has to have their own government with ethically a strong constitutional federalism. Within that concept, democracy is the linchpin of our program at this moment.
What does it mean by self-determination in your context? Like,
yes, yeah. But self-determination is in the constitution too, the Federal Republic of Ethiopia's government constitution. OLF was, if you know, it's part of the transitional charter before kicked out by the TPLF, and the constitution also guarantees the right of peoples or nations or nationalities self-determination. So we believe the current constitution is the highest document of the land at this moment, and respecting that, we came back home to do businesses, democratic businesses, with the present reform government.
After TPLF ousted from the central power, the reform leadership, which is headed by Abiy Ahmed, brought so many reforms and changes. For instance, granted amnesties and tried to, widen in the political sphere. We can mention your case, for example. You were in exile in Eritrea for above 2 decades, and so you were repatriated to Ethiopia due to this leadership, right? And there were a binding agreement made between you, That means Oromo Liberation Front, which was based in Eritrea, and the Ethiopian government, right?
Yes, yeah.
What were those agreements? Because most of the contesting parties were made to repatriate to the country to participate in democratizing the country peacefully, right? But when it comes to some repatriated political parties, they chose two sides of the coin play. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, yeah.
The armed struggle and the peaceful struggle. In your case, there is this scenario. Why that happened?
Well, we came here voluntarily. By the way, if I go back, we met with the Prime Minister of His Excellency Prime Minister Abiy, and President Isaias was present. We discussed a lot of things, but the binding agreement was that we have to demobilize the army, the OLF liberation.
Disarming your army.
Yeah, integrating the army within the framework of the Oromia regional government, whenever they choose. And we came back here voluntarily. We agree on some issues.
To participate
on the democratic,
peaceful struggle. Yeah.
Peaceful struggle. So we strategized the peaceful struggle within the context of recognizing the constitution and recognizing its institutions like the defense, national security, the whole issues. But we emphasize that it should have to be reformed. What does it mean is the institution should have to be independent of any political affiliations and to serve all political parties. So this was the issue which we talked. And then he asked us, well, you have to disarm or demobilize or integrate the forces within the institution they choose. So especially Oromia Police. Then we came here, the first delegation came here to facilitate that. And some of the 1,305 armies came back from Eritrea. And then some of them, around 800, went to Oromia National Police. The rest break away. The remaining in the country, they break away anyhow because they didn't take orders from the leadership. Then I can say it's a breakaway faction. Within that context, the fighting continue, skirmish, I can say, fighting. So the government pushed the OLF to the brink because you are not respecting the binding agreement. And within the government, within the OLF leadership, there was no comprehensive dialogue from top to bottom because it was a rush. So that rush makes a little bit unnecessary. Situation happened. Now the leadership became disagree on these issues, and some faction are sympathizing with the breakaway group, and the rest insist we should have to implement the binding agreement and conduct the peaceful political struggle within the framework of the process or the constitution or the law enforcement process. So that is what happened, and then we conduct our own national congress around the beginning of the March, then elect the leadership.
So can we say there are two OLFs, the one who wants a peaceful struggle and the one who carry out armed struggle?
No, because the OLF formulates the peaceful strategy as a whole. If somebody or a group break away, that is their own way to go, not with the OLF political process. So the breakaway or factions are factions.
So you're not responsible for
we are
the
not,
armed
no,
army?
we are not responsible, really.
Okay, good. Ever since the new leadership came into the premiership, we have scored 3 consecutive years, right? How do you generally see these 3 years in your view?
Well, these 3 years is up and down because of the old regimes are encamping in Tigray and to destabilize the peaceful reform process. And on the meantime, 3 years is really short. Within this short time, I can see the infrastructure is evolving, trying to institutionalize things, and the economic development around the infrastructure determine the superstructure all the ways. So they try to accommodate in this process. It is really appreciable because the superstructure is always a foundation for the superstructure. I mean political upper institution. So in this context, really it is much appreciable. The rest is, it's not a problem of this government too, because this government is really a reform government. It's not a revolutionary to dismantling the whole institution and creating all new things.
Absolutely.
So this is not the way to go. Reform is the only process because this country has a long history of complex problem.
Exactly.
Within the institution, outside the institution, the nation and nationalities are around more than 80, and everybody demanded anything they want at this moment. But having said this, the country is really intact at this moment. The rest is the decision of the people, how to proceed the situation. So in politically, this country has no democratic experience. The winner takes all, the loser will die, or something like that. So win-win situation meaningless here in Ethiopia. So I believe win-win situation is the only way to go forward.
Great. Not only the political reform, we've seen the economic reform as well. Within this very few period of years, we have seen mega projects launched and embarked. You can mention the Ntoto, the Koisha, the newly being under construction, the Wanchi, the Sugar Park, and other big mega projects have been launched and embarked. How do you see all this in boosting up the economy of the country?
I think that is what I mean, infrastructure changes. It accompanies everything within this infrastructure. This is really much a great achievable. At least trying to formulate the project even, not implementing in it. Because of COVID-related situation, the world is really up and down economically because of COVID. And it was the empty treasury when Abiy took over the government. They couldn't even pay the salaries. But within this, all this problem, trying to do such thing is really much admirable as I see it. So we support the good deed of the government, and we are not going to criticize more and more, which doesn't really, the government can't do much because of the capacity of the economy and so on.
Okay, great. Some people claim that Dr. Abiy Ahmed has lifted up the country from the free fall. Do you agree?
Yes, because if it was not a reform process was applied, the country can be free fall because of the the TPLF, they are much greedier than ever regime in this country has happened here in Ethiopia, because you know they control the economy, they control everything, and then if the reform was not applied, the country can be free fall for sure.
Thank you. So another question: you have to brainwash this, notion in public's mind. OLF and TPLF had been working together to challenge the central government since this reform has been attained over the past 3 years. And this is a revolving issue, not formally actually, and sometimes we've been hearing that this propaganda. Is that true?
Not true, really, because I was part of the OLF leadership and part of the delegation who talked to the TPLF delegation, and they tried to contact the OLF legally as the executive committee performed its duty, but we shocked that they invite us to discuss things. But at that time, what happened is we presented parliamentary agendas. Like, in the first place, the OLF and the TPLF was the enemies, not the
Exactly.
friends. Yeah, and it's not a really. This is must be clear to everybody. And they are the one who pushed out the OLF out of the charter governing the government 1991.
Exactly.
And then there was a fight between us, and we tried to even discuss things in a way, diplomatically, I mean, but they failed to accommodate that situation. So when we came back, they tried to contact the leadership, and the leadership present parliamentary agendas. First, they should have to apologize what they did on the Oromo people. They imprisoned around 40,000 Oromos and tortured them, and some of them died in prison. Some of them are disabled, and the women's raped, tortured, and everything happened. Exactly. Yeah. So they have to apologize this openly to the Oromo people before we start any agenda. And one. Second, they displaced the Tulama Oromos from here around 200,000. And they just confiscated their land, I can say. They became richer and richer by this. So they should have to compensate that. And disappeared people like Nadi Gammada, Lama, unaccountable. They should have to disclose this to us, and we ask them this, and then they say no. And then we say no. But within the organization, some factions try to contact them and discuss outside. I don't know what happened to that process. Maybe that process achievable within the working together as a faction. It is not the OLF. So we don't know that faction really. So they can't.
It doesn't represent Oromo Liberation Front at all.
Not at all.
What is your stand about the current constitution?
The current constitution, as I said before, it is the highest document of the land of this country. We believe it. We accept it. Within the process, we believe some amendments should have to be encompassed. Not by violence, through a referendum. People has to decide, and the democratic process should have to prevail. That is what we believe.
Does it need amendment?
At the OLF, we have some discussion what should have to be amended, not by force, but by discussion
and dialogue.
And a dialogue, and then people has the right to vote on it. Not really some faction can say, well, if this constitution is not amended, I cannot be part of the government or part of the...
it doesn't work out.
It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
So what we believe is this, a smooth democratic process should have to prevail. And we accept this document is really drafted by some of the Oromo intellectuals, and we accept it, and this is the highest document. What we intend to amend is like from bicameral government system to direct presidential system. It's much better. It is much democratically really visible and acceptable to the people. And the other is there must be a constitutional court which interprets the constitution independently, considering that.
Is this experience of other countries or?
Well, we believe there are some countries who has constitutional court because of the complex situation. The constitutional court is sometime considering the regional government's representation according to the ratio of the population. This is fair. We see this is very, very fair. But when I say there must be a knowledgeable people who can be appointed by relevant authority, that means the highest executive body, and then approved by the people's representative. You can say the Confederation, the Council, or whatever, another, what they call it now, it's a federation.
Exactly.
Yeah, so this is the process which can guarantee everybody individual right or collective right of the people. So the Constitutional Court is much, much better, we believe, if it happened.
Exactly. Regarding about self-determination, you have mentioned it earlier. One is about this federalism. It can be ethnic-based or geographic-based. Which one do you, prefer as OLF?
Oh, by the way, you see, our difference with some people has much has been achieved by nation and nationalities in this country, not ethnic group. Ethnic group emphasized as in the West as a refugee who comes from outside.
Exactly.
And they call it ethnic group. But I don't want to go that way. I can say nations and nationalities has achieved much. This is a constitution which can be visible at this moment. They cannot go back. So this is a victory. Especially this constitution is really guarantees the minorities' rights. Not like Oromo is a big population. We don't care really. But to respect the minorities, they have the guarantee in the constitution. So we believe the present federal system is achieved by struggle, and it will never go back to where the unity government is administered by one nationalities. It will never
So Oromo Liberation Front favors federalism.
Yeah, this is what it is.
The current federalism.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, appreciated. Ibsa National Electoral Board has banned OLF from not taking the upcoming election. What was the reason?
The reason was the faction of the former leader was really, he say, we pulled out of the election. He was individual. He has no right to decide on behalf of the OLF to pull it out of the present electoral process of election or the sixth election. So that is really, we say this is not good. We have to conduct national congress and decide whether we have to participate or not. Around the beginning of the March, the national congress has been conducted. The board representative was there, and they accept the process is really about 500 members. The requirement was 500 to conduct the congress. It is above that, and then the board, we appealed the board. We did everything. we are going to participate in the election. Not only into the election, we should have to keep the legality of the organization within the framework of the peaceful political process. And because the other breakaway faction is emphasizing themselves with the guns, we are not part of this group. And then the election board says some issues are not really acceptable. They just didn't accept that. We went to the court. The federal court decided that. It is really everything. Yeah.
To prove that you're innocent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they decided.
So you're going. I mean, you're not going to take on the 6th national election, but the upcoming
of course,
election, the 7th, it goes on like.
It goes on.
Yeah, you're ready for that, right?
We're ready for that. We are going to rebuild the organization and make really a great effort to unite the Oromo political organizations, including the governing parties organization, because before, around 2019, at the beginning, from the beginning up to November, I guess so, we create an umbrella organization. And we agree on 13 points, which is really binding for any individual Oromo or organizations, because that was the interest of the Oromo people, which we agreed upon it. It is standing any time. So that is what we are going to go back and create a good atmosphere among the Oromos. The Oromos cannot kill an Oromo or other people and call themselves democratic. So this is really, we want to seek a government of the people, by the people, for the people.
Exactly.
So the people should have to decide, not the political organizations. So we seek the voice of the people.
If you all are working for Oromo, why don't you work jointly, like by building a strong single party that works for Oromo people's question?
Well, most of the problem is ideological deficiency, not really ideological difference, because Oromo
as
is
long as you're working for Oromo,
Oromo is an Oromo.
The questions are known. You are going to address those questions. So having different parties is not important as far as my knowledge concerns.
Yeah, we may say that, but still, less than the population of Oromo has so many parties in the other country.
Exactly.
It is really much better if the different ideological set is presented to the people, let the people decide it. Now the problem is, during 1960s and 70s, power comes from the barrel of the gun. That was a theory.
Yeah.
But these
days
it doesn't work. And then I can say the power comes from the the ballot box.
Exactly.
So I don't have no problem, but to empower Oromos economically, politically, socially, educationally.
One strong party is needed.
Strong Oromo nation. It doesn't mean I'm pushing other nation when I say this, because within the framework of the constitution I can say that. And then let us work toward us. What is the common entity? What is the common denominator? We should have to choose that. We chose that. 13 points. If I give you that paper.
Obviously, the current leadership came out of Oromo Party, and they are addressing public's desire, particularly Oromos and generally Ethiopians, right?
Yes.
Are you satisfied with that?
One way which it makes me a little bit much, I cannot say a little bit, much prouder is to encompassing the other nation and nationalities as equals.
Exactly.
This is what really appreciable. During the TPLF era, the other nation and nationalities was not even participating in their Congress, and let alone to become leaders. So this is a little bit what the OLF was thinking, to do this.
And this time power is granted by merit, isn't it?
Yes.
not by affiliation.
No.
And so you're satisfied?
Yeah, that was really much, it should have to be worked harder more than this, but it is really, it's not very nice.
Can you tell me Oromo Liberation Front's future direction?
Yes, our future direction is to rebuild this organization and having really comprehensive dialogue within the OLF members, non-members, intellectuals, abagadas, and so on. And really, after that, if there is something is missing from the governing party or the government, and we have to present our policies for next election. This is what we do, and we much better really off if the government, the governing party is separate itself from the government institution. This is what makes democracy really achievable. And in America, as you know, when the president is elected, I think around 2,200 people guaranteed only to appoint the ambassador, some of the political office. They cannot appoint more than that. In this country, everybody who work in the government is forced to be a member of the governing organization or party. This should have to be really considered not good for the process of the democratization of this country or the Oromos too. So I believe this is a great difference between us and the governing party.
Okay, the GERD, the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, is bone of contention among Sudan, Ethiopia, and Egypt, right?
Yes.
And mostly Egypt has been working to destabilize Ethiopia and trying to put the country into turmoil lately. And we have heard a report from the government. Wing from TPLF and from OLF had been working with Egypt's government to destabilize the country. Do you agree with this?
Well, really, nowadays the OLF name is, any individual
everywhere
can say I'm an OLF and so on. That is where the anarchy has happened. We formulate a policy and then a peaceful policy. If there is nobody is on board of these policies, they cannot call themselves an OLF. They only represent themselves and be a puppet of somebody, destroying their own country. The greed is really, if I may go back, these countries, soil erosion has been developing Egypt for so many thousand years, but this country couldn't
utilize the
water or whatsoever in terms of irrigation or so on.
Electricity.
So this country has the right even to use its own resource. What kind of judgment is that? They used for so many thousand years without any say. Now they are saying that Nile is our property. That is shame, really. It doesn't work. We don't believe it. They cannot destabilize this country. And at the final analysis, they are the loser, really.
Recently, the water minister of Egypt has reiterated that filling of the GERD, the second round, wouldn't hurt Egypt and wouldn't decrease the amount of water that goes to Egypt. He has said that. So your stand is firm when it comes to GERD.
We make the statement before when it begins. This belongs to the decision of this country's people. and to use it or not to use it, not the other people decide on behalf of this country's population. Therefore, let me say, if the utility is really, the grid is successful, Egypt will be successful. How? You know, in this country, people use the deforestation for cooking and everything, right? It will not happen. That will not happen. If that will not happen, the rain will come much more. So that is why they are really try to pressure this country, and buying some renegade group, they will never achieve.
Jal Ibsa Negawo.
Thank you very much.
Currently, you are advisor of OLF and a long-serving politician in the history of OLF. Thank you for your time. Have a wonderful time.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for the opportunity you have given to me.
Dear viewers, this brings you the end of our edition. We have been discussing on Oromo Liberation Front's political attitude and political related questions. Hope you had a wonderful insight about it. Have a wonderful time. Bye-bye.